What's up, Norberg Nation? How's it going? So today we're going to be doing a race review of that crazy pre-final race at the United States Pro Kart Series round number 2 at the Orlando Kart Center. So a little bit of context on this race. Going through the entire week, we were pretty much the fastest driver all week. And so that really put a target on my back in every race that I was in, especially because this is the Sunday race. On Saturday, everybody kind of saw that if you let me go on my own, I could probably just check out on the rest of the field. So I knew going into Sunday, everybody's gonna have a little bit of a different strategy for this race. I knew that the most likely scenario is that any opportunity that a driver gets to pass me, they're gonna take immediately, and they're gonna try and force me back into the drivers behind them. This is just kind of the standard strategy you use when you have a driver that's really fast and is kind of beating everybody the whole week. You try and push them back into the other drivers behind them, and that just kind of allows them to get shoveled so far back that hopefully by the time they get free from all the trouble, you have such a big lead that you can win the race. But going into this race, I kind of knew that that was the game plan from everybody. So I really wanted to be focused on not going backwards. I wanted to keep my momentum going forward. So with that being said, let's get started with this race review. So coming into the line, the series actually changed their starting procedure. They went from the acceleration line that you see at most series to an acceleration box. So that really helped the inside driver, especially at this racetrack where there's double right-handed apex. It is super easy to start on the pole there because you just come out in first every single time. Going into the third corner there, I didn't have to block. Something that I'm noticing though when I'm coming through that corner is I'm looking at the other side of the racetrack and you see so many drivers just going through the dirt over there and just blowing it on the racetrack. So I know that when I go back the next lap, I need to be very, very cautious in that third turn. I'm not blocking at this point because I got such a good run off the start. I kind of opened up a little bit going into the first corner, and that allowed me to have enough of a run down in the back hairpin that I didn't have to block or anything. So at this moment, this is kind of where I am, in my element. This is something really good for my race because I was worried that at the start everybody would throw everything at me and I would be thrown back early in the race. But the fact that I have a good cushion this early in the race, super good for this race and super good, for the race as a whole. But as I go into this corner, again, I brake early because I knew that dirt was going to be there, but there's not much you can do when there's dirt on the racetrack. You can go so slow and just creep through the corner, and you're going to lose time on your competitors because you're the first one that goes into the corner. And right now, everybody's back on my bumper. They've closed that gap. And knowing that the strategy they're going to use, knowing that this is what they're going to do, I start defending. And right there into that last corner, you saw I defended. I still was able to get a good run down the straightaway here. I think my gearing was pretty good, and I was able to get nice runs and clear out a little bit on the top end. And so I wasn't really having, to defend at the end of these long straightaways, but I'm definitely having to defend. I know that any opportunity these guys get to throw it in there, they're going to do it. They're going to just throw the cart in there, hopefully make a little contact, and that's going to shove me off the racing line and throw me back a little bit. So with that on my mind, I'm just trying to take away any opportunity that people have to make a pass down into there, defend a little bit. I can hear their engines are closing into this section. That was a corner where the driver in second, the 309, who you'll see in a little bit, I knew he was fast over there, so I knew to defend more over there than normal. Going down in here, this is again another corner where you can come from 2-3 carts back and just throw it in there. And so I knew that if I just half blocked that corner, it would shut down that possibility. The problem is I'm not getting a good run on the straightaway, and even though I'm defending, I'm still having enough space that I don't have to defend at the end of that long straightaway. But I know that if that gap closes at all, if I make a mistake at all, that driver's going to be close enough going down that back straightaway, they're probably going to make a pass. So I'm just trying to stay calm and to not make mistakes, because I think that at this point, if I can defend enough and the drivers behind me kind of get stacked up, they have to defend, and then once they have to defend, I can get a better exit than them off the corner and then get a better run down the straightaway. But you see right there out of that left-hander, got a little sideways and in through here, kind of sliding a little bit. And again, I feel like I have to block again. I wish I had the reverse camera. It wasn't working for this race, so you could see how close these drivers were behind me. But heading down into this corner here, going into there, and then the driver throws it in pretty late, and now I'm behind the 309. And so at this point, getting a good run off the corner, but I gotta try and get back in front of the 309. Again, I told you the strategy that they're gonna use is to try and back me up into the drivers behind me, get a good run down the straightaway here. You know, he could be lifting, it could be a difference in the gear ratio that we have, especially he was blocking the corner before. So I'm looking at that and kind of measuring out, you know, maybe I have a little bit more on the top end and not so much off the corner. He blocks into there, I slide a little bit, and so he's able to open up for the corner. And right here, my teammate, the 371, he throws it down the inside. That's Paul Bacuse. It was a good move by him because he was able to get up, take advantage of my slow pace. You know, I'm falling back. You don't want to be held up behind somebody who's falling back. But that allowed the 309 to kind of stretch out a little bit and set up. But right now, the 371, he's pretty quick. You know, he's pulling away from me a little bit, partially just because I've been running, you know, off the racetrack a lot, defending and not being in the right spot. And with these softer compound tires, it takes a little bit of time to get the tires cleaned off so that you can start marching back through the field. And so I know right now I'm in that period of time where my tires are a little bit, you know, dirty, and I'm not able to, you know, have the amount of grip that I need. But right there in the brake zone, they're coming back to life. I'm closing in the brakes like I should be, and I'm able to hold off the guys in fourth. There's a bunch of guys kind of stacking up behind me, and so I know that once these guys start to race hard, I've got a slight window where I don't have to block the driver in fourth. But if they race pretty hard, you know, I'm going to be stuck. I'm going to have to block the same as these guys. Coming off the corner there, closing the gap a little bit, the 371, you know, he's got a little bit of a gap. I think down here he might have, you know, wanted to go, so I went in deep because I thought maybe I could go with him. I bump him off the corner. He tells me he's going to go in this left-hander. Unfortunately, I wasn't close enough to go with him, but that bump that I gave him just enough momentum that he was able to catch the 309 off guard going into that left-hander there, which is, again, a good passing zone. Realizing with the 309 that the gearing is a little bit different, I think I'll probably gear lower because of just that run that I get at the end of the straightaway. Going down to this hairpin, he opens up a little bit, I think, to go with him, and right there, he sends it in on the 371, and I get stuck behind it, just kind of the odd man out in that situation. I should have known better because the 309, you know, I knew he was going to try and throw it in there. He was, you know, very aggressive. I think his tire pressure was a bit higher to start this race out because, you know, he's so aggressive out the gate. So I knew he was going to throw it in there, and I thought maybe I could get to the inside of him, and it just didn't work out. So right here, they go down into the corner, they block, they defend a little bit, and right here, I see an opening up on the inside, and then all of a sudden, the track just goes away. And then there you go, the 302, I think, crosses in front of us as well. So I ended up not losing a position, but right there, I get a little irritated because initially, I thought he drove me through the dirt, but then I realized when I rewatched the video that I was, you know, on an extended portion of the racetrack that just disappeared, and I didn't realize it disappeared. I thought it was still there. So yeah, going down into this back section, 302, you know, stops pretty aggressive on the apex there, and that causes me to slide a little bit, and I lose a little bit of time. But right now, the 371's checking out, has got a great lead at this point. And so the 302 is somebody that I'm looking at and going, okay, I need to get by this driver very fast. Here he takes too much curb, and I'm able to just over-under him pretty easily. It's because he took too much curb that I was able to do that, so that helped me out a ton. Going into this corner, going extra deep, and that allowed, I think, the 309 to go as well. I think both of those drivers started to, you know, race pretty hard behind me, and I had a cushion as soon as I got off of that corner, so I knew that at this point, it was basically just me trying to, you know, let the kart come in, clean off those tires, and allow me just to run back down the 371. Again, in that early portion of the race, I felt pretty quick when I was, you know, on my own. You know, when I was even blocking, I still felt fast enough that I could pull away even with those little bit of defense that I was doing. So right now, pushing pretty hard. This is a pre-final, so the race is a lot shorter. I also don't want to be starting in that second row or the outside row. It's just a terrible spot to be in, so I just don't want to be doing that. So I'm actually pushing pretty hard to get back to first because I know there's such an advantage to that. And for my race in particular, when I start on pole, I'm able to maybe get a good start and then not have to block going into that first corner, kind of like you saw here. And if it weren't for that dirt that got thrown on the racetrack, you know, my race might have been different. I've closed quite a bit on the 371. Definitely a lot of the time is in the braking zones. He's my teammate, so, you know, I was able to kind of talk to him about it afterwards. But Yeah, a lot of the times in the braking zones, close right there. I know he knows I'm coming. He'd been looking back a little bit, so I know he knows that I'm there. Coming out of this corner, get a little too much curb. Trying just to, push as hard as I can to catch him. I think we're probably looking at like 4 or 5 laps to go at this point. I have it on my dash, I just don't know. There he defends going into that, final corner leading on the straightaway. He looks back a little bit. I thought about maybe surprising him and going down into this hairpin because it gets such a good run. End up tapping him a little bit into the corner there. I didn't want to just, ruin our races. He is a teammate, so I didn't want to throw something in there too late and just really, upset both of us and throw us back because we worked so hard to get this cushion that we have on the rest of the field right now. But definitely, I pulled up on him really quickly. I saw the defense that he was putting, in that last corner, so I know he might defend down into this corner. So, if there's any opportunity, I'm going to try and take it. He opens up. I go to the inside. I just didn't want him to start blocking more, so I went to the inside as quick as I could. And right here, I throw a little bit of a defense heading out of this corner. I get a good run. I knew that my speed right now was quick enough that if I could just do a few corners, even with this little bit of defense right here, I probably would pull away. I had a lot of speed, a lot of grip at this point of the race, and you see down here, I don't defend going into this corner, and because of that, I come out, look back, I get a little bit of some breathing room, and at this point, the race is over. I knew that if I just, put the laps in that I need to, I'll be able to, finish this race in first. So that's it. That was the race. As you can see, there's a different strategy you use when you are one of the fastest drivers on the racetrack. You can't go in with that same mentality that you do when you are the same speed as every other driver. If your competition is smart, they know that the only way to beat you is to get in front of you and push you back into the rest of the field. So to beat that, you have to make sure that you stay calm and don't let yourself fall too far back. Make sure you make smart, precise moves to cut back through your competition. Sometimes it takes you sitting behind a driver for 1 or 2 corners just so that they don't block and push you further back into your competition. And as you can see from this video, staying calm and just allowing yourself to get clean laps makes the biggest difference. So there you guys have it. That's it for today's video. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Let me know down below in the comments what race you guys want me to review in the future. Also, make sure to follow me on my Instagram, my Facebook, and my TikTok, because that's where I post a lot of awesome racing content as well. And if you want to stay up to date on what's going on with my racing career, make sure to follow those as well. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.